Hey, this is Gatorex, and with the recent reveal of Pokemon Sword and Shield, the discussion for pretty much everything is at an all-time high. Now, one of the things I do want to talk about today is the Galar region itself. As we all know, the Galar region is based off of the UK, and that started some of the discussion on whether it's connected to Kalos. Since Kalos is based off of France, and in the real world, the UK and France are pretty close to each other. Not exactly right next to each other, since the UK is an island. So looking at the Galar region map, it doesn't exactly seem a whole lot like the UK. Some people have pointed out that it seems like the UK just flipped upside down, but realistically it could all just be creative liberties taken. When you see the map, there is a piece of land to the north that looks roughly like Kalos, but for one thing, it's not connected to any pieces of land. And as we know by looking at the Kalos map, it has land bordering it on the east and south. Although, like I said, France and UK are close to each other in real life, and in real life, France is south of the UK. And when we look at the Galar region map, the bottom part of it is obscured by clouds. So I mean, hey, that could just be your easy connection there. Kalos is right to the south of it. Although when you place it this way, it doesn't exactly mirror how it looks in real life, with France and the UK. So you could just have them being separate like they are in real life. It's real interesting because this is one of the first times we've experienced something like this. Well, yes, the first 4 regions were all based off of locations in Japan, and some of them were actually right next to each other, like Johto and Kanto. But since then, regions have been based off of New York, France, and Hawaii, and now we get the UK, which is right next to France. Sort of. So that's why a lot of this speculation continues. And from what we've seen of Galar, some of the landscape seems very similar to Kalos. Again, these two regions being geographically close to each other. Like I mentioned in my trailer breakdown, one of the caves that the player character is seen walking through reminds me of the Glittering Cave from the Kalos region. Of course, I don't exactly think these caves are going to be directly connected, again because I think that Galar is probably an isolated island much like the UK itself. But that is just a cool thing to see these similar locations appear. And for the most part, I do think that the Galar region is also an island. The clouds obscuring the bottom could just be covering that up. And for one thing, whenever we get official maps of Pokemon regions, there are a lot of clouds obscuring something or just indescript pieces of land that for the most part we think could end up being something in some other game. Remember when all the Southern Kalos theories were going about? But really in the end, it ends up just not being anything. Since the Kalos region was only 2 generations away, I highly doubt we'll be able to visit the Kalos region in some sort of post-game, but at the very least, I definitely expect there to be some sort of connection in terms of story, or in terms of characters. Specifically, I think that Professor Sycamore could make an appearance, but other than that, I really don't know what else to expect. With these games just being announced and there only being 1 trailer, there is a whole lot more that we could find out, but the mere fact that France and the UK are geographically close to each other in the real life makes me think that there could be some sort of possibility to these 2 regions being close to each other in the world of Pokemon. Although what would be neat is if eventually in Generation 9 it's a region based off of somewhere else in Europe that's pretty close to these other 2. To start building some more regions of Pokemon that are close to each other similar to what's going on with the Japan regions. For now, my final verdict is that these 2 regions aren't physically connected to each other, but they're geographically close, so there could be some sort of connection. I would definitely expect some sort of cameos or lore drops, but I'm not expecting a giant crossover event for the post-game. But anyway, let me know what you think. Are these 2 regions close to each other if at all, and how close are they? Leave a comment below and we'll continue the discussion down there. I also want to quickly remind you to check out my channel Gatorex Plays, where I'm posting gaming videos and my podcast, which there was a new podcast episode yesterday, so that'd be really cool if you could check that out and support that. If you enjoyed the content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking the bell icon next to the subscribe button. This will make sure you see each new video as it comes out and will make you a member of the Chingling Squad. Anyway, this has been Gatorex. Have a nice day.